Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Nerd Advantage. As always, I'm your host, Lee Halt, and this is
T5.
And tonight we're going to be talking to you about the anime movie. Because isn't that how you say it's anime movie if it's just a standalone film? Because if it's a
I
series,
would have
it's
just
an
said
anime.
movie.
Yeah. Well, anyway, movie. The boy and the bear.
No, The Boy and the Beast.
The boy and the beast. Oh, well, it's not really a beast; it's a bear. But
I mean,
yeah,
but they're called beasts.
yeah, they were called beasts.
They're race.
It was like we'll both agree it was an okay movie and we enjoyed it, but there were blatant plot holes everywhere to the point where you couldn't ignore them.
Some of them weren't plot holes. Some just like they just didn't explain it,
Yeah,
and it just came out of nowhere.
kind of like Dragon Ball Z. People have unexplained powers out of nowhere. Or like they touched on, remember Civil War? Does anybody have any wonderful and unintroduced powers yet that they could just show off here? So,
Yeah, he said that after
Ant-Man went Giant
yeah,
Man.
yeah.
Which Giant Man tore shit up. But anyway,
Yeah.
back onto Bear and Beast. But before we even get started on this, spoilers. There will be spoilers for this, and there will be
I already
spoilers
forgot to
for
say it.
anything else that we talk about today. And we'll be talking about a few other movies too. But one of the first ones that really got us was the main characters. You got the names.
Kyoto and Kametsuru. I don't think I pronounced that right.
One of them's the master, who's like a bear, who's one of the beast creatures that basically these guys are like half human, half animal hybrid type things, but they're like demigods basically. And if they're good enough, they can become the guy in charge of a city. And then if they're extra good, they can become the leader of the city. And then after the leader of the city for unspecified amount of time, they never really touched on that too much. Like, how long does this dude have to rule before he's allowed to reincarnate and become the god of whatever he chooses? Like, the god of anything, basically. Like, oh, I want to be the god of cotton candy. Okay, you got it, buddy. I want to be the god of decisiveness. Okay, you can have that too. Like, so it's basically whatever you want to be the god of. And one thing I wondered on, and I mentioned when we were watching it, I'm like, is there like some grand list of who's the god of what? What happens if you're just like, I want that, and somebody else has it? Choose again.
They might allow two gods. You can share it. I don't know. They didn't explain it.
No. But then...
They also didn't explain that you can turn into objects.
Yeah, they didn't touch on... Yeah, that was out of nowhere. Because the main... All right, in order to help his apprentice beats this dude who's
The
basically
human
become
boy that looked like a girl.
that ended up becoming a Heartless. That was a Heartless.
That looked like a human from the get.
Yeah.
He did not look like a beast at all.
No,
he just
and-
had a hat on. It's like,
and apparently
it's not
that
a
hat-
human.
Apparently that hat deceived everyone except me and T5 here right off the bat. We're like, isn't that a human? But then they're like, it's a beast. So we were just like, okay, I guess we'll accept this. And then later on, it turns out he was a human. We're like, we do it.
Yeah, that was bad.
Yeah, they did not explain how just a hat
Also, I hate when anime make boys look like girls
and sound like girls.
and vice versa.
Like, he sounded like a girl, too.
Yeah.
That was the extra worst part.
At least the younger version of him did.
Yeah, the adult version still looked like a girl, but sounded like a dude.
Yeah.
So that made it a little better. But then, all right, so there was the hat issue. Him turning into an object, which, yeah, like you said, they never touched on that at all. And then the Heartless thing. Mm-hmm. That was not
straight
explained
stole that.
at all. And it really did seem like a flat out, like it came from Kingdom Hearts. Like the dude
Well, they
had a
did
hole in his
explain
chest and
about the
stuff.
darkness briefly.
Yeah, but
They didn't go in depth with it, but they did say the darkness was a thing for humans.
Yeah, but they never touched on where that came from, or how it possibly make you have telekinetic powers and you basically become a Heartless. They never touched on that.
They just doing a lot of stuff at the end.
Yeah, and we will both. I'm pretty sure we both agree on this. A very random and seemed like it really came out of nowhere. Moby Dick.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was just out of total.
It would
left
have made
field.
sense if his little rival read the book too, but we didn't see that at all during the movie.
So, yeah. And instead of there being a white whale at the end, there was actually like a dark whale.
Unless the darkness was in tune with the other character and he just knew that would be symbolic for him. I don't know.
But see, that's
That's
a
a lot.
possibility. That's a possibility, and they could have touched on that, but they didn't. Like, see, that would have been good to just been like, oh, when he became evil like that, he became intertwined with all darkness, and all
Yeah.
darkness is connected to all humans, so he knows everything that all humans know.
Yeah.
That would make a lot of sense, but nope, they didn't say none of that.
And I
It was
like
just-
how his girlfriend was so chill with everything.
Yeah, I love how she
Didn't ask no questions. She's like, oh, okay.
Hey, I'm in
is
this
the thing."
magic land with all these weird talking animal people, so hey, I'm cool with this.
And I wonder how the world is after that event.
Yeah. Also, there's something they didn't touch on. When his master transformed into the sword, and he then took the sword and shoved it inside of his chest, they basically became one entity. But he can hear his bear master dude talking. So I was like, okay, so is that going to last forever? Can the bear dude only hear him if he talks out loud? Because then he's really going to seem like a crazy motherfucker for the rest of his life. Just walking around, and the dude's like annoying the shit out of him, but he knows if I say anything, people will think I'm crazy. I have to wait till I'm in private. That would fucking suck.
And also what happens if he dies.
Yeah, does the bear dude die? Because isn't he technically a god now? Doesn't that by association make what's-his-nuts a god now too? Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're not touching
I mean,
on
I
any
would
of these
assume,
things.
I don't
Is he
know.
going to stop aging now? Because he's technically kind of like a demigod, half god combined with somebody god bag. Yeah.
So many questions.
Yeah, I know. That's why we enjoyed the movie, but we really have. There's so many
I thought
questions.
you hated it.
Oh, I liked it. I thought it was cute. I thought it was fucking adorable. I was like, oh, this is a really awesome movie.
Also, I feel like the characters from this movie seem too much like characters in his previous movie, like the Wolf Children.
Agreed.
They look too similar.
But this guy, like, he does a really good job. But I think the mistake he's making is that he's
What is it? Nope.
not even gonna try. Okay, so basically, he's taking ideas from shit that he likes.
We're talking about the director / writer.
Yeah, he's taking ideas from things he likes, like other media things. Like Kingdom Hearts was definitely like in there. You can see
yeah.
the reference. It is blatant. You can't hide it. Then you have Moby Dick was in there. Like
Yeah.
that was just quoted directly. That wasn't even like a metaphorical. You see what it's about. And then there's a lot of kind of like the Karate Kid Master Apprentice type thing going
I
on.
mean, it started out like that, but then the kids started teaching the master.
But isn't that what always ends up happening? They end up teaching each other. But overall, I mean, we enjoyed the movie. I'd probably give it like maybe a 6 out of 10. I'd say it's pretty fair with all
Yeah.
the plot holes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty fair. And then what we're wanting to do now is we're going to touch on some of the movies that we've done in the past, but the videos or audio has basically kind of been lost in space. The first thing we ever did was Blade Runner.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that was the first one we ever did, and we both really enjoyed that movie. It was
Yeah, especially the end, the last line.
Oh my, yeah. Basically the entire movie touched on what does it mean to be human and how the replicants ended up becoming more and more.
That should be
human
a
as they went.
TV show.
They should. They could easily update it and turn it into a TV show.
Yeah.
That would be fucking amazing, actually. Like they could touch on like other Blade Runners besides Deckard, because that universe could still.
I feel like they should change the name Blade Runner though.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. They don't even have swords.
At least give them a knife, like, and say like that knife is like their symbol of a badge or
All
something.
right, so Blade Runner is one of the movies that we both really agreed upon that it's worth a watch, especially if you're a sci-fi fan. If you're a sci-fi fan and you have not seen Blade Runner, it's kind of like almost like a required watch. It's really good. After that, we did Deadpool, which we both really liked. Deadpool.
Yeah.
It was hilarious. We had no
As soon as you
complaints.
said
with-
Deadpool, I thought the baby hand.
Oh yeah, baby hand,
creepy
everything.
baby hand.
I loved Blind Mal the most.
Who?
His blind live-in
Oh,
lady and
okay.
everything. I loved her the most. The water and Alka-Seltzer for blood, dumbass.
No, what did he say when he was leaving? Something about
Oh,
cocaine.
I got this memorized here. I'm pretty close to memorize. It goes, all right. Now, somewhere buried inside this house is 100 grams of cocaine next to the cure for blindness. Good luck.
Such a dick.
I died laughing when I saw that. That was so funny. And then, so Deadpool was definitely a watch from both of us. We both love that
I hope
movie.
she's in the next movie.
She should be. She's one of the
At least a
prominent
little bit.
characters in the Deadpool franchise.
Is she?
Yeah. She's like his sidekick. Like this. She's like his Alfred. There you go. That's what she is.
The
She's
non-psychic.
sidekick.
Oh, sidekick.
Yeah, like the
Okay.
sidekick that doesn't go out and do stuff, but he's there when the hero's not doing stuff. That sidekick. The Alfred. The butler.
I thought that was T.J. Miller's character.
Weasel? No, he's the guns runner. He's the guy that gets Deadpool all of his weapons and tech. So he's the Morgan Freeman. Make sense?
Yeah.
She's Michael Caine. He's Morgan Freeman. Deadpool's Batman. Bam.
Oh my.
Great Batman reference. Hell yeah. After we did Deadpool, we ended up doing Schindler's List,
I liked it.
which, yeah.
That was good.
That was a movie.
Long, and you fell asleep when we watched it.
Well, I've seen that movie at least 20 times. I love that movie. It's one of, my opinion, Liam Neeson's best movies.
I was struggling to stay awake too.
It's
But
one of Liam Neeson's
We
best.
watched it after we got off work though.
Yeah, it like really ended up playing late. But it was a
Was that like 3 hours, something like that?
yeah. Great movie, and just like me, you lost it at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always cry at the end. It's just
Wait, did I? I
Yeah.
can't remember if I did cry.
you
or I
almost
was
cried when we recorded the original
or
podcast.
I almost cried.
Where Oscar,
Yeah,
where
I
he
did.
got the
Yeah,
gold
I
ring.
did.
Remember, he got that gold
Yeah.
ring, and he didn't want to accept it because he felt he could have did more.
All right, we need to stop.
Yeah, he could have got more. Oh,
getting
that
teary-eyed
part,
now.
that part, man. It's a beautiful movie about an actual person that really did all this stuff and really saved all these Jewish people from
Mm-hmm.
the Holocaust and all the horrors that happened. It's a movie everyone should watch because it's basically a movie about kind of like what the highest you could be as a human, because one of the greatest things you can ever do is save someone else's life. That's one of the number one most selfless things you can do, and the fact that he did that for over 1,000 people, badass motherfucker,
Yeah.
and risked his own life a shit ton along the way. Like, Nazis did not fuck around with that. Like, they would have tore him the fuck up for doing that type of shit. Like, they would have thrown him in the concentration camps with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he risked a lot. Now, what else did we do to date? We did the invention of lying, which you were like, it was funny. You liked it a lot more than Blazing Saddles, which we also watched.
No, I like
like-
Blazing Saddles more.
Oh, you like Blazing Saddles more?
Yeah, I didn't really like Invention of Lying.
Okay.
I mean, I
so had
chuckled during
reversed.
it.
But yeah, Blazing Saddles is one we both did like too. Like, it wasn't as fun, the type of funny that you like.
Which one are we talking about?
Blazing Saddles. It had its
No.
moments,
Yeah, it had its moments.
especially with Gene
But
Wilder.
overall, I like the story. The comedy didn't really resonate with me though, but the story I did like.
Yeah, and I love Gene Wilder in that movie.
Then they did the fourth wall break where they just running through Hollywood, and it's like, okay.
Yeah, well, it's Mel Brooks for you. He kind of does what he wants. He does. He's in Hotel Transylvania now. You ever seen this?
Mm-mm.
Oh, those are really good. Like
Isn't
animated ones.
what's his name in that? His name is Adam. Nope. Adam Sandler. Yeah.
No. No,
He doesn't voice one of the characters?
Maybe that actually might be him. Yeah, he probably is the voice of the main vampire guy. But Mel Brooks is the voice of Dracula, like the leader of all the vampires. It's pretty awesome. That's a really good cartoon and cute and everything. Honestly, we have not done much horror. Like, I'm going back through all the
Alien.
That's sci-fi. It's more sci-fi, but it does have horror tendencies to it. It's kind of like
I'd
a
count
sci-fi
that as
horror.
horror.
Yeah, it's kind of on the fence for me.
At
but
least
yes.
the first one.
But we still have the podcast stuff for Alien, so we don't really need to touch on that one. I was kind of thinking of all the
Actually, we
stuff we did
have.
before.
We could convert all of the videos that we did.
Yeah, but just not all the audio is usable. But anyway, so since we're lacking in the horror, I'm thinking the next movie that I'll pick will be a horror movie. And I was
Conjuring.
wanting to do The Conjuring so that way we could see the second one in theaters, because The Conjuring is one of the best horror movies made in the most recent years. It's really good. And it's not one of those cheap horrors where it's trying to just give you jump scares and stuff. It actually has a really good plot, and it's based on actual stuff that happened. So that'll be the next one we watch, and then we'll end up going to see The Conjuring 2 in theaters. You want to just do both of those in one podcast? Conjuring,
Yep.
Conjuring 2? Sounds like an awesome plan. All right.
Back to back.
Huh? Back to Patton?
Back to back. I made a Drake reference.
Oh, back to back. Okay.
Wait, have you heard the song?
No.
Back to back?
No. No.
Intriguing.
I don't listen to the radio that much. But anyway,
I don't either.
well, that's the only way to hear most modern stuff, unless somebody's just like, here, listen to it.
Okay.
Oh, it's yay. Well, anyway, that kind of finishes up what we wanted to touch on. Well, we wanted to
We
touch.
did Summer Wars too.
Yeah, well, Summer Wars is basically the same. Like, I
As
didn't like it too much. You liked
Digimon.
it a lot. Yeah, it was the
Yeah.
same as Digimon. So, yeah, that was one problem we had, is a blatant reference that it was Digimon. The original Digimon movie had almost the exact same identical plot.
Yeah, by the same director. I
Yeah,
didn't
that's-
realize that when I first
that was the
watched
part
it.
that
I still
really-
love the movie though.
Oh, yeah, I like the Digimon movie and I like the Summer Wars movie. Like, it's a really good plot. It works both times. So, we ended up doing that. So, do you want to start trying to do maybe two?
Not really.
not two movies, like pick a TV show that we're both going to watch and do with that at the same time.
That's a lot. Like, if we don't know the TV show, like, how will we do that? Will we do like episodes or the whole season?
Well,
Because
I
already
would
kinda do that on
love
my
to
channel.
get you to start watching Game of Thrones,
No.
and we can go like, hey, season
I'll
one
watch.
is all.
I'll watch 3 episodes.
You have watched.
I will watch 3
You
episodes.
will watch 3 episodes. All right. Well, we'll
After that, I will not watch
Now-
it if I don't like it.
okay. If those 3 episodes get you hooked, then we'll take that as our show. Sound like a deal? Because I have that much faith in that show that the first 3 episodes you're
I
just
feel
like,
like
fuck,
you had
I'm
the
in it.
same faith with Doctor Who. And then I watched, 6 hours, 9 hours of it? Did not like it.
Yeah. But you don't really like time travel too much. Like, you do, but you're really against
I don't like
it.
medieval fantasy type stories either.
Yeah. You and the bulk of America, but the bulk of America does like this show.
I disagree with that statement because a lot of people like Lord of the Rings too.
Yeah, but Lord of the Rings has been a timeless classic because basically all fantasy can kind of check its origin to Lord of the Rings. And like Beowulf. Like once you get past mythology and shit like that, you basically get to Lord of the Rings. Because there really wasn't anything fantasy related written in between that time period. There was some stuff, but nothing.
When was it written?
Lord of the Rings, late 1800s.
I thought
It's
that was
old.
I didn't think it was that old.
It's old, dude. Old. Like, okay, the author.
I thought that was more modern.
No, hang on. All right, it's not. You're talking J.R.R. Tolkien was born in the late 1800s. The bulk of his influences for the novel that he wrote, the novel was actually put into paper probably around 1920, 1930. That's when it was finally put to paper. And it didn't get put to paper until it was already finished. It actually started out, that was a bedtime story he made up and told to his children. All of Lord of the Rings was originally just a bedtime story for his kids. It was not meant to be on paper. But then somebody overheard his children talking about all this, so they asked him, what the hell is this all about? And he started telling them, they're just like, you need to write this. And, he wrote it, and it got published, and basically Dungeons & Dragons takes almost everything from Lord of the Rings. Like the actual tabletop game where you play with dice and shit, Lord of the Rings is pretty much the inspiration for it. And then around the same time Lord of the Rings came out was the same time The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, the Narnia stuff came out. Those are your two...
I'm not a fan of that.
Those are your two founders of modern fantasy. Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, the Narnia franchise.
I didn't
and
know
Lord
that
of
was
the
that
Rings.
old either.
Yeah. Like, did you ever watch Lord of the Rings?
Yes, I've seen all three, but I don't remember any of them.
I'm going to tell you about a scene and see if it like pops in your head. There's a scene where Frodo is, heading towards Mordor and all that stuff, and he goes through a swamp, and there are dead bodies everywhere. And he ends up kind of falling in the water, and he sees a dead body starting to float, and then it ends up grabbing him, and Emma starts pulling him in.
Nope.
That was an actual reference to the author's time in World War I, where he was walking after the end of a battle, and it was so muddy, it was like a swamp, and there were just dead bodies scattered everywhere. That's one of those real incident inspired something in a fantasy novel, and it resonates both ways. Like, it was pretty horrifying in the show, too. Just like, wow, there's a lot of dead motherfuckers everywhere. But, that was after the worst battle of World War I. Like, you're talking in, like, the course of one day, over 100,000 people were killed. It's like, that'd fuck anybody up. But he took all that fucked up shit from his experience from World War I and turned it into something awesome that basically has inspired countless people to write and create and do all kinds of things involving fantasy. Because there's a shit ton of fantasy video games we would most definitely not have without Lord of the Rings or the Narnia franchise.
Have you ever played Gauntlet?
Yep. That's one of the ones we definitely wouldn't have.
They got a modern version of it. I don't know if I like it, though.
Any of the Warcraft stuff, which, by the way, Warcraft movie, I'm actually impressed. And the main thing that impresses me, that the movie follows the lore of the video games. This is not a World of Warcraft movie. It's not a movie about World of Warcraft. It's a movie about Warcraft that happened before. Because basically you have a Warcraft video game franchise that led up to the MMO.
I played like the first one.
Yeah, this is the first game. I shit you not. You remember the orc that ends up helping?
I didn't beat the first game. I played like a little bit of it.
It's directly the lore, like 100%. This is one of the best video game movies adapted ever to date.
I was more enticed by StarCraft at the time.
Hopefully, if this does really well, considering StarCraft is Blizzard as well, we might get a StarCraft movie.
I
would be down for that. Yeah,
I still need to play the second game.
I'd be way more interested in StarCraft than I would be Warcraft. But
Sounds like it's some money I'm buying that game.
Oh yeah, you got a PC, you can handle it easy now. Mm-hmm. Yep. But that kind of ends what we're going to be talking about. We're definitely going to end up watching Warcraft when it comes out, and we're doing the Conjuring 2 coming up, so you guys can look forward to that.
Is that this week?
June 10th. Yes, this Friday, tomorrow. All right. Well, as always, I'm Lee Hall, and this is
T5.
We'll see you next time.